Bippity boppity boom. Welcome to the DPUC, folks. Definitely no exciting music happened. Don't worry about that. You missed nothing. This is totally my real background as well. Don't worry about it. All right. Welcome to the June 2026 DPUC from the entire freaking DevRel team and a couple very special guests. My name is Nick Moores. I lead developer relations at Workday, and this is our product statement. We will absolutely talk about forward-looking things. We can't help ourselves. It's kind of the whole point. Please act responsibly. You know the rules. All right. So today we will be doing a recap of DevCon, a recap of the hackathon, a recap of stop share you are screen sharing. That's right. The DevCon Development Kit, the DDK, and we have some special guests to show off some extra fancy things you can do with it. We're going to talk about developer days, dev program updates, and as always, some time for Q&A. If you didn't see the news last week, everyone's talking about blah, blah, blah dev agent. Joe Lee now has hair. That is really the big announcement out of DevCon. Thank you to everyone that worked so hard to make this possible. We did what AI never could. We gave Joe hair with the magic of 3D printing and a lot of Gorilla Glue. And again, my favorite part is that the seam is not in the part. It's like
Right down
straight
the
down the
center.
middle. Yeah. If we have time, it's on the Hackathon Highlights YouTube video that's been posted, and it's gorgeous. I love that of all the things they chose to leave in, they left that in. And that's not even the wildest thing that happened at the hackathon. Yeah. So I'm gonna go through some awesome photos I was able to snag from our fancy pants DevCon photographer this morning. Folks, we brought back very live demo to DevCon. Let me back up for a second. This was by far the biggest DevCon ever, over 1,200 in person, and almost 10,000 registered digitally. Everybody watching the keynote together, singing Kumbaya. Good times. So we had some amazing, very live demos. We introduced Chalk Talks. We had a whole bunch of developer meetups. The whole ethos of the conference, right? Show me, don't tell me. Hands-on event of the year. And I think that paid off in spades. We had some really, really awesome sessions from workmates and others alike. The Express Labs, CJ will immediately point out whatever I get wrong, but I believe we had 100 seats with 17 labs, everything from using our new agentic tools to extend Data Cloud and beyond. Jock Talks, interactive discussions with Workday experts. Here's Joe Carroll. He helped build Workday Orchestrate. We also had Chalk Talks from Mackenzie Gervin and Srinivas Raman, developer MVPs. There were like 7 awesome photos. I had to pick just one, so my apologies there. We even had the chief architect of Workday breaking down how we do agent governance in our runtime. Super, super dope. Here's an awesome picture of Srinivas crushing it. We had Workday Pro certifications again, and over 100 new certifications were earned. So congratulations to everybody that got a cert on site. Shriya, can you tell us a bit about developer meetups?
Yeah, we had 14 developer meetups this year, and it was crazy. I think next year we're really going to look into expanding that area. It was really fun. At one point, I had to be like, "Can you guys like move forward so that there's more
Yeah,
space?"
that's
But
awesome.
it was amazing. We had another successful Women in Tech and Allies meetup as well. That was
Mm.
amazing. It was hosted by Jennifer Serrato, the CTO platform, and Marika Shukla, who is the VP of Solutions Consulting. Just a really cool event, lots of amazing meetups. And we also did a foodie meetup and a gaming meetup at DevCon After Dark too, which were both
So
really
cool.
fun as well.
Amazing. Thank you, Shreya. You crushed it there. Hackathon highlights, if we can put the link in the leg, Joe. How do we not think of that? Can we put the link in the chat to the Hackathon highlights video? I picked just this random team here, but Andrew Cesario told me he was retiring, and he must have lied because they founded a really awesome new firm featuring Pokemon cards as business cards, and they won the whole freaking thing. So congratulations to that team. You can see all of that at the Hackathon highlights video. Yope, we're working on full top 10 videos. Um, they're being edited by a smart team in Amsterdam, I'm told. So I trust the Dutch, and I hope you do too. But that, I'm told, is coming very, very soon. I had the same question. They were really happy with their 30-minute cut, and then they have a longer cut they're going to send over as well. Great question. All right. This is the big man Ryan Basilio who kicked off the opening keynote. And yes, this has already become a Slack emoji internally at Workday. Thank God. Where really it all boiled down to Workday having an agent-ready platform and developer ecosystem. I'm going to give you a super duper flyby of this, but in the chat, we will also send you the real keynote. You can watch the whole thing right now, as well as a super awesome deep dive on Developer Agent from me and Joe that I would also love to feature in the chat. So, what we announced, Workday is an agent-ready platform, and we are expanding our dev experience and ecosystem to be truly global. Really, folks, the time is right. The open ecosystem and Workday worlds are converging. This is something that I think everybody on this call already knows and believes fully, but you're hearing it from the top brass at Workday now. We have a responsibility to help the world connect enterprise truth and the agentic velocity that today's tooling demands. So Workday Build, our developer platform, is truly agent ready. We announced and launched Developer Agent. It premiered at the Hackathon as well as at DevCon. And yes, I too am excited to use it even more. Our engineering team is working like mad to get it ready for a GA. So thank you for your patience there. But you're basically able to use Developer Agent anywhere you need, anywhere you're already building. Google Antigravity, Codex, Claude, Cursor, and beyond, with over 50 plus skills already enabled and the ability to create new skills using Developer Agent. It runs on our trusted Workday platform where agents are lawful and truthful, and you can surface them everywhere at scale. Again, watch the keynote, much better version of this chat. You can build these anywhere, and we give you lots of skills out of the box. Our agent-ready tools are agent optimized, secured by default, and published as MCP tools. You'll see over and over again, we are choosing to use open standards and not building our own bespoke things. We debuted the Agent Passport, which lets you verify and validate that agents are accredited to do what they say they're doing. It's continuously enforced against customer-defined trust policies. We have a big partnership with Cisco on this. And we have lots of out-of-the-box interoperability using ATUI and MCP protocols, and something really, really cool called ATUI, which lets you surface Workday UI within the agent chat panel. That's something that I would love for us to demo on a DPUC soon. We also are expanding the Developer Learning Network. We welcomed the University of Alabama and the University of Arkansas system of schools to the program. And we are empowering veterans with Workday Build. Tony, do you want to give like the 20-second overview on this slide?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have like an echo going on my room.
Yeah, me too.
So anyways, we are basically empowering veterans and veteran spouses to get certified with Workday Extend. So we are going to be putting through a little pilot group of 20 folks through our Workday Pro certification to get those folks ramped up and into the ecosystem to kind of showcase how easy it is these days to get people from zero to, Workday developer. I think it's a really exciting program and really happy to partner with the Eliason Group to help out our veterans.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony. All right. And then a big one, this is going to be a big giant segue, but we are launching the Built on Workday Developer Days. These are going to be all over the world, but our first one is going to be in Bengaluru, India next month. And for more on that, I would like to welcome to the virtual stage, Mr. Prima Yadlapudi. Prima, how you doing, buddy?
All good, Nick. How about you?
Do you want to go ahead and drive or have me drive?
Yes, I will drive it.
Love it. Love it. I can finally move my mouse without anyone judging.
1 second. Let me just share my screen. Mhm. Uh, And I hope my screen is visible to everyone. So yes, we are conducting our first developer days in Bengaluru next month. So it will be on July 8th and 9th. So the entire developer days would be of two tracks. One would be an experience track, and the next one would be the newcomers track. For the experience track, it would be upgrading yourself, I would say. So whatever experience you have with Workday, you will be bombarded with new set of knowledge, that is how to build agentic apps over here on top of Workday. And for the newcomers, it would be basically on the fundamentals of how you can build on using our open developer platform. And we are bringing a lot of new set of people. And as of now, we have one partner who is coming in. He's also from India, who is also there into the HRMS business, but not on the Workday side. So we gonna target a large set of audience throughout India in the upcoming months. And the next set would be this is how we are differentiating day one and day two. So in the day one, it would be like the keynote and then the tracks and deep dives on top of agentic apps and Workday. And then the hackathon starts. The hackathon starts at 2 p.m. for the experienced set of people. And the hackathon ends at the next day around 2 p.m. So post that, we do have our judges. The judges are the internal Workday top leaders, and along with few other persons from outside as well. So they will be judging it, and we'll be announcing the winners, and then followed by happy hour.
Nice. Gonna be dope.
Yep.
I don't know if we got a slide in yet, but Shriya and Prima have built a brand new Luma calendar for all of our Developer Days events. So I'm gonna take the risk and just jump in there.
Let's do it, Nick.
Let's do it. LFG. Try not to swear on the call. Okay, so if you to know Luma is to love Luma, but we have a brand new Luma all about developer days. Oh my God, I need to subscribe even. But here you'll see all of the developer days as they're confirmed. There's another one coming up in Sydney in a couple months as well. Trust me when I say more to come soon. But this next event is in Bengaluru, India. You will meet myself, Shriya, Prima, and even more awesome guests. Here I can request to join. See what happens. Oh, damn. But all you have to say is what company you work for. Where do I work? People tell me. And then if you want to build a built on Workday app, there is a specific track for you. But the whole point, again, is you don't need to be a Workday customer, partner, or part of the ecosystem at all. You don't have to be certified. This is really a taste of the future where you can just come in as an open developer, get access to developer agent, dun, 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 and join us in person. We've got Workday leadership in the region that will be there to help kick us off. It's really, really going to be awesome. And a huge thank you to the Built on Workday team for helping to put this on and to AWS for helping to sponsor it.
And unfortunately, everyone, registration is limited, but we will be keeping you all updated there. So once you guys go ahead and request to join, we will in within the near future approve you, and then after that we will communicate you with you through Luma. So if you are interested in this opportunity, if you have anyone in universities who's a student who might be interested in this opportunity, anyone at all, or anyone just genuinely curious about Workday development, go ahead and tell them to join us in that link over there. And yeah, it's gonna be really fun. I'm super excited.
It's going to be really, really great. You'll be able to say you were at the very first one.
Hmm.
All right. So more to come on that soon. In fact, the next DPUC will be the week after it. But it's going to be amazing. Just reach out with any questions. If we could put the link in the chat again to get
Yes.
more information on developer days. And then I think Shriya has an awesome QR code that we can share as well.
Yes. The official post will be out on the LinkedIn today, so make sure to take a look for that for the announcement post as well.
Yes. All right, we got good questions coming in about how to register. So yes, please visit the Luma, register there. And then additionally, if you want to do the specific built on Workday track, there's like an additional couple steps there.
Yes.
But this is for everybody, whether you're interested in building marketplace apps or just becoming a Workday developer, or you have colleagues that you think would be a really great fit to learn more about this ecosystem, go ahead and send them the link. Amazing. Okay, with that, I'm gonna hand the talking stick to Mr. Obinna Ekwuno. Obinna, how you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm gonna let you drive. Is that okay? Do you have the slides up?
Yeah, I do have the slides up. Let me
I'm gonna
Let
let you
me
do it.
play that and then share my screen.
All right.
Uh, this should work. Share my screen.
Yes. We got your sticky note.
All good?
Yeah, sticky note and desktop.
Yeah, wrong one. All right, Nick, do you want to help me share this?
Yes.
Just so I, yeah, okay.
You got it. You got it.
Thank
Boom.
you. All right, team. So, hackathon projects. We had a really amazing hackathon, 24 hours. People built a lot of amazing apps. I was blown away by the amount of technology usage and how you all mixed and matched to make, the solutions that you presented. So I'm just gonna give like a quick recap on the kinds of solutions that we built. Nick, can I get next slide, please? So in the hackathon, people built a lot of solutions and we tried to like match the patterns and try to group them into different themes. So you had themes ranging from resource operations to employee experiences and some patterns that I suspected was going to happen when we, obviously are launching using agents in the wild in production. So a lot of people were concerned and most of the applications that they submitted were surrounded around safety of design choices. So essentially ensuring that agents have the right permissions. So agent passports was a very good one there. And also having automating tasks that would usually take like a lot of manual work to resolve. And those are the kind of solutions that we did see. Nick, next slide. So obviously the builders were building and using like we gave them a pool of technologies to use. A lot of people obviously use Dev Agent, and if you haven't tested it out yet, you can also sign up to the early access program, which would be very good, and we'll be launching that soon. And obviously you had a lot more people trying to see using exploring agent communication, and also as Nick pointed out, also agent UI as well. And some people were also trying to create applications from connecting third-party applications like Gemini, third-party agents like Gemini, Pipedream, Snowflake, and yeah, there was a lot of like mix and match, but the most common ones were agent passports combined with orchestrate and agent UI building, and that was a very, good eye opener to see how people are mixing those. Next slide. And of course, we had our top three teams. There was a lot of amazing applications to choose from. But these were the ones that, passed the vibe check for business value, wow factor, use of technology. And our judges came up with these three. And I see they've been announced on LinkedIn already, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
It's out
yeah,
there. It's on
we
YouTube as well.
Awesome. So check those out. You can drop the link in the chat as well. But we have Zero Legacy, which was using some real-time coach career optimizations as well, using data, leveraging a lot on data cloud. And we had Billy, which was a native building agent that reviewed like transactions for consultants. And then obviously with the rise of agents, we also had to ensure that like agents have the right credentials, especially when helping you to like perform your tasks. And someone built some a solution for that. So ensuring that you don't run out of tokens mid-task. And that was a really good application to see. One more thing that I wanted to pull here, one next slide.
You got it.
Yeah, thank you. So one more thing to pull here is just landscape of the different categories of how people were building. So the talents and career, we had like 6 applications built there. A lot of the applications were more towards operational, like removing the manual operational workflow, and that was really, really good to see. So there was a lot of global mobility management or token spend governance. And that was, yeah, this was a very good hackathon all in all. And then I can show next slide just to see who was actually building the demographic of people that we had there. So we had like 31 organizations across like Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, Kainos, and all most of these participants were paired with different some teams had like different people from different organizations as well. So it was a truly collaborative community project, and yeah, can't wait to see what other people build in the wild. That was the Hack Projects recap.
Love it. Thank you so much, Obina. Super duper appreciate you putting that together. Dude, I mean, we used to like spend like 3 weeks getting that together. So I'm sure on behalf of DevRel, the product marketing team, and everyone we serve, thank you for gathering those so fast.
No worries. Team
Pretty
effort
awesome.
as well. Shout out to Tony for the data too.
Yeah, awesome sauce. Okay, well, without further ado, I'd like to welcome good friends Jahan and Jeff to the stage to talk all about this DevCon Development Kit thing. And tell us more, my friends, and I'll go ahead and let you share.
All right. Thanks, Nick. We don't have slides or anything, but
It's okay.
my name is Jahan. I'm a product manager on the Data Cloud team, and I'm joined by Jeff. He's one of our rockstar engineers. And we're from the Data Cloud team, which, if you're not familiar, it's a product that helps you get data in and out of Workday a lot more easily than you could in the past. And it's one of the offerings within the Data Cloud is called Live Data Query, and that lets you authenticate and get live Workday data out using SQL. So we just wanted to demonstrate how open it is and how you can really get Workday data anywhere now. So Jeff, when he got his hands on one of these development kits, and I think it's blurred out, but I'll read it to you there. It
Oh
says
yeah. I'll show
SQL
you
for
the,
Workday.
it looks like
Yeah,
one of these
perfect.
dudes.
Yeah. So we wanted to demonstrate how open it is. So when I press the button on the development kit, it's going to send a SQL query to my Workday tenant, and I'm going to get back an answer to that query that says that I have 339 workers in my tenant. So we just wanted to demonstrate how open the platform is in that you can really connect from anywhere, Tableau, Power BI, any of these analytics tools and platforms. You can connect to Workday using agents. And I'll hand it over to Jeff to add a little bit more color on how this works technically on the development kit.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jeff Fountain. I'm one of the engineers on the Data Cloud team. Um, I am an enormous nerd at heart. So as soon as I saw these things, I wanted one, and they told me I could only have one if I did something cool with it. So I was like, okay, I could do that. So I have spent the last year or so working on LDQ and specifically the client side of that. And as soon as I was able to get into one of these things, they're really just running Python under the hood. They're a very, very, very tiny processor with a very, very tiny battery in it. But connection to LDQ is dirt simple. All the compute is over on the Workday side. There's nothing really inherently special about the client other than, hey, can you talk to Trino, which is kind of the underlying layer there. So afternoon, while I found a quiet place at DevCon, which was more difficult than I was expecting. Hacked away on a laptop and then just ported the client over to this in about 2 hours. It was really, really quite simple. And then once I showed it off to Jahan, he wanted to show it off to the world, which is why we're here now. We just put some sample queries on there. So every time you hit a different button, it would connect out to an actual live tenant in an info environment and pull data down from it. So that's pretty much the whole story of this thing. Super, super cool. Mine isn't working because I'm trying to get Doom running on it. But again, I'm a pretty huge nerd. So that's how I've broken this thing now as well.
Super awesome. Yeah, I had did Peter Gordon walk up and say like, "Hey, can I give you my game?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Just like puts a USB-C into my badge. I'm like, "Dude, are you giving me a virus?" He's like, "No, it's really cool." And then there was like a light team versus dark team battle. Yeah. Seeing what everyone made with it was really really amazing. Seeing live data query work with it was awesome. So it was awesome, you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
For the question in the
Yeah.
chat, it cannot run Crisis.
So fun. So fun, so fun. And then Shriya, you put a slide in here, yeah?
Yes, that brings me to the point. Thank you, Jeff and John. All right. We want to ask you guys, we want to know what you did with your DDK post DevCon. So if you attended DevCon, you got a DDK and you're doing something with it, post a video to LinkedIn or email us at devprogram@workday.com showing us how you reinvented with the DDK. Make sure to use that hashtag there, DevCon26DDK, tag the Workday developers. There may be prizes. I don't know. You could you could get some prizes for doing this. I'm gonna
Ooh,
leave it out.
tantalizing.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave it out there. But everyone, go ahead and do this. If you don't want to show it off on LinkedIn, you can go ahead and email us too. We're fine with that. But post a video to LinkedIn, tell us what you did. We are super excited to see all the different things.
Heck yeah.
And Jeff, I expect a video if you do manage to run Doom on it, please.
Yeah, man. Seriously.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jahan, so much for joining. It was pretty awesome. They got to show it at the hackathon as well. Very, very cool. Thank you for your partnership. And Data Cloud was like nuts during the hackathon as well. Heavily featured in the winning project. Really, 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 really cool. So check out the highlights again if you haven't yet. With that, I'm going to pass it to Tony. And Tony, I'm going to let you drive.
I was just about to ask for driving ability.
Ask and ye shall receive.
All right, let me pick the right screen here. All right. Hello, everybody. If you don't know me, I am Tony Gilfillan, and we're going to talk about kind of the scale of the hackathon. It was enormous, like the just sheer amount of stuff that was built, and it was the largest hackathon we've ever had. It was electric. It was amazing. It was a great time. We had 362 hackers, 52 competitive teams, and we had an additional 98 individuals doing our learner track this year. So we had a massive hackathon. If you guys saw the pictures, if you've seen the stuff online, like it was huge. It was great. It was so much fun. Let's get into the developer agent stuff. So we built 211 apps with developer agent with over 13,000 input prompts and over 118,000 tool calls. So that is a lot of developer agent usage, and app component generated. So these are just individual components within apps. Over 5,000 individual components were generated. Pretty wild. Moving on here. So apps alone, 3,000 apps were built. Um, I'd like to know, I need to go look back in last year to see how many apps were built. I bet the year over year is kind of ridiculous. We created over 400 business objects, so lots of data going into these apps. 39 business processes created, again, most likely by a developer agent. Agents. We had 249 unique agents built with over 107,000 total agentic invocations. So lots of agent usage. Not surprising. It was amazing. I'm sure all of you that got your hands on it have the same feelings. Our agent-ready tools. So in my opinion, this might be the most exciting piece of all of the developer agent. So the Workday MCP tool calls. We had over 28,000 MCP tool calls. So those connectors out to any APIs, all the agent-ready APIs using those MCP tools, 28,000 calls. Insane. So some of the top ones were staffing, not shocking there. Find worker, yeah, lots of cool stuff here. And then some of the top rights, I think, are a little bit on the more interesting side of what are we pushing into Workday? So time tracking, resource allocations, performance enablement, some of the big ticket items there, but very cool that we are able just to see the volume in which people are able to use these agent-ready tools. And again, 337 distinct MCP tools. So not just the top five. We hit lots and lots of MCP tools. Agent actions. So these are those agent actions off of those orchestrations. So we have 39 connected accounts, 60 agent actions via orchestrations, and 100 or 1,072 actions called. And if you guys saw those pipe dream connectors, there are a ton of them. And we had 42 unique pipe dream connectors used. There is well over 42 pipe dream connectors in pipe dream. It's a little overwhelming. I believe there's like 1,000 or something like that. So just basically any software that you're using in the enterprise world today, there's probably a pipe dream connector for it. So those are actually available today, so you can go see those. That did not go away after Hackathon. A2UI, amazing, AI generation. 1,886 UI elements were generated for those agents. So wild numbers here, just the sheer amount of volume that was able to be cranked out from the agent developer is just insane. And then Agent Passport, again, this was that stamps, so basically compliance and all the good stuff that basically was automatically able to tell you whether or not your agents passed certain compliance standards. Over 707 of those were used during the hackathon. And one more shout out to our amazing hack experts. We had over 100 experts at the hackathon this year, so there was a lot of talent in that room, a lot of people helping out. But some of the top contenders here, Karen Rosenthal, big shout out. Hayden McGrath, very close. I believe he was number 2 as far as the expert goes. Kevin Howe, Obinna Aquino, our latest and greatest expert in the room, and Shriya Dandan. Big shout out to all you guys. And any experts that are on the call, thank you for joining us. We're not able to put this hackathon on without you guys' help to get everyone across those finish lines. Now, I have a quick demo. If you guys were not at the hackathon, we had a pretty cool sample of a agent that we built. We call it Workémon. This has evolved a little bit since the hackathon. I was able to fiddle with this last night, actually. Actually, let me make sure that I'm sharing my sound because there are some sound effects with this. Share sound. Okay. So this is essentially a Pokémon knockoff, if you haven't caught on to that already. So we walk into our headquarters and we're able to do some tasks within the GMS office building. Maria Cardoza is going to let me submit some feedback. Unfortunately, this is all hard-coded because I don't have a keyboard for my actual app here. So it's going to submit some feedback to my tenant. Wonderful. Thank you, Maria. I'm going to go upstairs and see what else we can do here. Paulina Powers is going to submit some time off. Wonderful. Jacqueline Desarnes is going to open a new rec for a financial position. Fantastic. Thank you, Jacqueline. And this was actually part of the hackathon, this interaction with Beth Lou. We're going to go ahead and talk to Beth. She is blocking our path. We're going to do a little bit of work here, create some goals. Let's do a performance review on Beth. This is kind of loud. Maybe want to change job. And finally, I think we need to change Beth's work address. It is super effective. She has been relocated. And that's where my demo ends. Alrighty.
Awesome.
So
Amazing.
those are actual API calls. They are mocked out at the moment, but they are API calls going out of a JavaScript server. And I'll show you guys really quick how I did that. But first, I want to touch on something that I actually used to do this. So first off, welcome back to Tony time. If you guys have not caught me on YouTube, I put out a bunch of smaller videos as well as my live stream where I take on any side projects, questions. We have some guest appearances on there, and I'll be spinning up the daily call again now that DevCon has kind of come to an end. But this is my tip for the day, and I'm going to show you in a minute here how I actually built that Pokémon app using this exact tip dynamic workflows. Use them. If you haven't heard about them, I'm going to talk about them in just a second. They are pretty ridiculous. So what are dynamic workflows? They are basically a slew of things that Claude has rolled into one command. It plans for you, it breaks your plan into subtasks, and then fans those tasks across many agents. And then it actually does a check on the results and then gives you kind of that single coordinated answer after it's completed its big task. So it kind of sounds like this is all just agent teams, right? Not exactly. So agent teams is kind of that small subset of, 4 or 5 agents doing QA, dev, specific personas, where this is basically agent armies, is kind of how I like to think of it, because it breaks it down into very tiny, minute tasks, and it is actually very token friendly. So dynamic workflows not only saves you tokens because it's breaking down your tasks into these little tiny bite-sized pieces for many sub-agents to use. For example, when I built this little Workémon build out, it only used around 150,000 tokens, and given the breadth of which it created a bunch of assets and sounds, all the logic, the API call mockups. Again, 150,000 tokens for that is pretty amazing. But it used over 70 different agents to do that. So that is a lot of agents compared to my previous workflows. So what it kind of all combines here to wrap it all together is if you use UltraPlan, it kind of talks you through creating all that upfront planning before any kind of execution happens. It does kind of leverage auto mode if you have it on, and it's more or less a hands-off type of experience. It will stop occasionally if it does run into roadblocks that, it doesn't have permission to do this or that. And again, be cautious with the things that you do give Claude access to. And again, it is doing an agent team, a just really big agent team. I have not seen it use less than 20 agents when you give a sizable chunk to actually take care of. And then last but not least, it uses a review process. And I actually baked in the Codex CLI to do an adversarial review. And I've talked about this before. If you use a secondary LLM, it's actually better at reviewing your code because most LLMs think they did a good job when they did something. And when you use a secondary LLM to do your review, you get a little bit better of a critique. And it rolls all of this together in literally one call. So it's pretty amazing. If you guys want to learn more, catch me on YouTube. Go ahead and scan those QR codes. And I'm going to jump over to my IDE and show you exactly how easy it is to use this new dynamic workflow. All right, and my workflow has changed again. So I say this probably every week, like my kind of favorite way to work with these LLMs kind of changes all the time. Now I just open up my large folder with literally all my projects in it, and then just open up a bunch of terminals all within VS Code. I've navigated back from anti-gravity and cursor back into good old VS Code because I just don't use the built-in agents too much anymore. So I love the terminals. I'm like kind of stuck with Claude Code at this point. Once developer agent change comes out, that'll probably change as well. So that my workflow changes constantly with how fast all of this stuff is changing. But I really like the way that this is because I can work on several different projects at once, all within one window. So let's go ahead and just kick off another Ultra Code. So to do Ultra Code, all you really need to do is put the word Ultra Code in any prompt, and it will recognize that it wants to use that skill. And then all you have to do is say, I don't know, build out all the sound effects for this game. And then it'll go through the process of trying to plan for this. It's then going to ask me a bunch of questions that will relate to this particular ask, that prompt. and then it'll create a design, I'll approve the design, and then it'll spin up that gigantic team to accomplish this task. This is literally going to probably take the rest of the 15 minutes here, so we won't watch this go through, but that is literally all you have to do. There's no installation. If you're on the latest version of Claude Code, you have Ultra Code already installed, and Ultra Code uses the dynamic workflows. So go ahead and try this out. It is kind of amazing, and it is really token friendly. I was doing 4 different projects last night running Ultra Code over 2 or 3 hours, and I did not hit my usage on my 5x plan. So just to give you a overhead view of how token friendly this is. So very cool stuff. I really enjoy it. I'm definitely going to be using it going forward. All right, so we're going to move back to the slides. And we're going to go over to Shriya.
All right.
Okay.
Tony, do you want to continue driving?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, next slide, please. Okay, everyone, I've got some cool developer program updates for you all. First off, please contribute to the developer blog. We have our own developer blog now where you can share your technical expertise with the global Workday community. You can submit a pitch or a draft to this Google form. That's where the QR code links to. And once submitted, me and the editorial team are going to review your proposal and work with you one-on-one to edit and publish a developer blog. This is just a cool experience and something to add to your resume if you really have something that you want to talk about that's related to Workday development. Please, please, please do submit something. It's going to be fun. All right, next one. And hosting a developer meetup. If you want to organize a 2 to 3 hour meetup for your local community, earn the title of Workday Developer Ambassador, please fill out this form and I'll be in touch with more information. If there's a couple of you that have already filled out the form, but want to like restart talking about it because you weren't ready before, please feel free to just reach out to me via my email and I'm happy to continue conversations over there. We are accepting developer meetups in any and all locations, even if it's already been done before or about to be done as well. Our goal is to really, we have 2 goals with this. One is that developers are connecting with each other, and the second one is that developers are learning something new. So truly, those are the only 2 goals. All right, next slide. So I wanted to show you guys some pictures of previous meetups that we've had in the past. We've had 4 meetups in the past already, 2 in San Francisco, 1 in Dallas, and 1 in Toronto. So this is the Dallas meetup that Nick hosted. Here's some pictures. Then next slide. And then this is the San Francisco meetup that I hosted at the Workday San Francisco office. Then we'll go to the next slide. And then we had Tabby Levine from Sun Life. She hosted one in Toronto as part of the WooGo event that she hosted, and that was also a pretty cool event. All right, next slide. And of course, we have Shannon Whitley who hosted another meetup in San Francisco as well. That was also pretty cool. Shannon demoed something really, really cool, and it was just a really great event. All right. I also want to talk about as the Outstanding Contributor Awards. The end of the quarter is at the end of this month, so we'll be announcing the Q2 Outstanding Contributors next DPUC. And of course, want to remind you all that it's top 5 of the leaderboard every quarter, and you can only win 1 swag package per year. But feel free, go ahead, climb the leaderboard, start climbing if you haven't already, and you too could win. This is, of course, we have now switched to dark mode. That is the new normal, right? So, okay, this is the current global leaderboard. You can go ahead and see what your standing is on the leaderboard today, but continue to engage on the forum. And if there's any ideas that you have about how we can incentivize the forum more, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always open to hearing more ideas. All right, upcoming events. So, our deep dive is at the end of this month, June 23rd, 2026, hosted by the DevRel engineering team. Stay tuned on the topic. We'll keep you updated on that. All right. The Workday Developer Program update call. So the next call is going to be Tuesday, July 14th, 2026, 9 a.m. Pacific time. We're here second Tuesday of every month. All right. And I want to announce we have 4 upcoming Workday Developer meetups: Warsaw, Pune, Cambridge in Massachusetts. I want to call out specifically, and Washington, D.C. We all have fun events for you all. For the Pune folks, I see some questions coming in. I will answer them. That meetup has gotten a lot of interest, so we are looking to do another one with the Workday team that's hosting it. So please have patience. If you can't get into this one, there will be another one for you soon. So thank you, and I will answer your questions as well. All right, next slide. Okay, and quick community updates. Get social with us. Join the Workday Developers conversation if you haven't already. That's where we post all the news in addition to the DPUC. So everything goes out there first. And please do follow us on there if you haven't already. And with
Nice.
that, I'm going to throw it back to Nick.
Yes, that's right. But wait, folks, there's more. We have a super, 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 super duper special guest, Mr. John Taylor. John, are you on the call? I think you have a pretty serious Pokemon card collection, which is perfect for the theme of today's call.
I do indeed. And how many supers? That's a hard thing to follow when there's like
I lost
5
count.
supers.
I lost count.
But I appreciate it. Pokemon card collection right behind there. Tony, very much enjoyed your demo. Just wanted to very quickly loop back to the event in Bengaluru on the 8th and 9th. Yeah, we're so excited to get many different types of developers all together for that event. If you are already a Built on Workday partner and you've signed up for the event, amazing, awesome work. If you haven't, why not? Please follow the link. And if you don't know how to sign up, please speak to your partner manager. And for anyone who's not a part of the Built on Workday program, open developers all are welcome. We need to have you follow Shriya's link to submit yourself, and then we will review. So it's a massive collaboration between people who are partners, who are not partners. Should be an awesome event. So yeah, exciting.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be very good.
Seeing the oh sorry man. Seeing the Built on Workday program grow from those initial hackathons and innovation challenges to now a Built on Workday Developer Day is really, really, really exciting. So, yeah, is there anything else you want to add, JT, or?
No. Just a point to say that we're quite proud of those. Actually, there's been many events, and this one will be the biggest event yet. So yeah,
Amazing.
Bring your best concepts, bring your best apps, and there will be some cool prizes on the line there too.
You heard it here first. Well, thank you for joining. I know we were saying, JT, I think you're already invited. The next DPUC will be after the Built on Workday Developer Day. So that'd be a really great chance to hear from your team on how it went. We're darn proud of it too. So really, really excited to see how it goes.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks all.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Any other questions in the chat? When will Hera be available to Workday customers? Tony makes those by hand, so we'll see. More news to come soon on LinkedIn and beyond, and on the forum about Workday MCP EA. So hang tight. Tony, do you want to answer the one on difference between dynamic workflow versus MCP?
Yeah, so dynamic workflows leverage MCP tools. So MCP tools are essentially just connectors for Claude to connect to really any integration that Claude has the ability to connect to. So MCP servers, if you want to think of it, really is just API calls out to the information that it needs or the information that it's putting out there. While dynamic workflows are the actual orchestration of the work that Claude is doing. So it's going to leverage all those MCP tools and all the connectors and all the plugins and all the good stuff that you have baked into your Claude to complete all of that work. It's just going to do it in a way that it breaks up all of those different tasks into many different subagents to honestly save you a lot of money in the token usage. Hopefully that makes sense.
Nice.
JT, how long have you been a Pokemon collector?
That is a great question that I wasn't prepared for. I have been a collector for a long, long time, but unfortunately, when I was a kid, the Pokemon cards I collected, I kept in rubber bands. So the condition was very, very bad. So I couldn't
Rookie
grade
mistake.
them, and now they're worth nothing. So it goes right back to when I was in school. But it pains me to realize how much damage I did there.
I will
take
never
better care
forget
now.
our pizza guy showing me a fake hollow Charizard back in the 90s, and we still almost bought it. Wild times. You had to
like
be
a
there.
sticker.
Even so, we were like, this might still be worth thousands of dollars. We don't know. It was crazy.
My mom sold all of my Magic the Gathering cards from ages ago in a garage sale. Who knows how much they're worth now? I'll never know.
Yeah. I gave all my cards to a kid down the street for like $3, I think. I still think I'm still happy about it if he kept it and used them and loved them because they were all in the sleeves and everything. Not the super fancy, like hermetically sealed sleeves, but it was in a proper binder at least. Oh man. Cool. Okay. I guess the last thing I'll say is that if you know anyone who is like late secondary school, late high school age, they're usually getting rid of their Pokemon cards. And if you or your kids want them, you can get a truckload of cards for very cheap and make somebody's holiday. Ask me how I know. Check out marketplace sites near you. Yes, more information on Built on Workday Developer Days coming soon. Thank you again for JT for being awesome, Jahan and Jeff for being awesome co-hosts, and to the whole DevRel team for being here. Thank you, everybody. We will see you in India next month, and we will see you on the DPUC shortly thereafter. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
Peace.